Hey everyone, Piano Man Chuck here, and I have with me today the Roland FP10. Now, this is the brand new entry-level keyboard from Roland. It used to be the FP30, now it's the FP10. And I've got to tell you, for $499 US, this is quite a bargain. What you get with this is just unbelievable. So let's start out with going over some of the things that it has. We'll go over the whole board. There's not that much here, it's minimal. But the main draw here is the key action. They're using Roland's PHA-4 standard, which is a progressive hammer action. And it's the standard one, not the premium found in the more expensive pianos. But this particular action is also found in the FP30 and a bunch of other Roland pianos. And I have to tell you, that is a really nice key action for entry level. First of all, it's triple sensor and it has escapement. And what I like the best about it is for a piano key action that's supposedly beginner, even though it's in a lot of the more expensive keyboards too. What I really like is the ability to play into a key. Meaning the closer you get to the fallboard, it's usually harder. You have to press more, give it more force to make that key sound. And you'll find that with a lot of entry-level boards. Now with this one's actually pretty good. And it's got ivory key feel and not all that kind of stuff. Now, like any other keyboards out there, the first thing you want to do is adjust how it plays for you. So if you like a heavy touch and you got to bang on it, there's that. And if you have a much lighter touch, you can do that too. So let me demonstrate. Everything on here is controlled by means of holding down this particular function button and then choosing one of these 88 switches. Each one has a dedicated function. So if I hold this down and press this, so what I just did is I chose fixed key action. So what that means is no matter how hard you strike it or how light, it's all going to be the same because it's set for fixed action. There's no differentiation between pressing hard or light. Now if I go to the next one, which is the lightest that they have, almost no effort required to make a key sound. And then the next one, a little bit more effort. Then they have medium, those were the two light ones. Then they have heavy and heavier. So for the heavier ones, yes, you have to press it a little harder, but you can also be more expressive too. Anyway, now let's go over the board, all right? In front here, there's 4 switches. And like I said, it's pretty minimal. You've got your power on and off, and then you've got your volume lower and higher, or softer and louder. All self-explanatory. And then this button on the right labeled piano or function. So no matter where I got off into the board, and let's say I'm off onto something else, I can just hit this button and I'm back to their piano. Alright, now this is also labeled as a function button because you can hold this down and press any of these 88 switches to get to whatever it is that you wanted to adjust. Now the easiest thing to show you is this is labeled here, which is really nice because a lot of other entry-level boards have the same concept. Hold down a switch and press on a piano key. A lot of other boards out there, you're going to need an owner's manual or user manual to find out what key does what or what switch does what. With this one, the most common things, obviously, instrument, whatever instrument you want, and metronome stuff. is all labeled right here on the board. So you don't have to look into a manual to do anything regarding tempo or metronome or instrument change. So right here we can see we have 4 different pianos, and we got 2 different electric pianos, and then we have 2 different harpsichords, and then we have a vibraphone, 2 different organs, 2 strings, a pad, and a jazz scat. 15 instruments total. Okay, so the first one, piano. Now let's change it to the second piano and see how that's different. And let's go to the third. A little softer. And the fourth. Brighter. Alright, then we got a couple of electric pianos. Here's one. And we have another one too. Alright, then we have a couple of harpsichords. Here's one. And another. Obviously the first one was a better choice. And then we have a vibraphone. Alright, then we have 2 different organs here. Here's one. And a second one. Alright, then we have a couple of strings. String 1. Slow. We have string 2, a little faster. Then we have a pad. And usually if you put a layer together with a piano and a pad, that is a pretty popular combination. And we'll get to that in a minute. And the last thing is Roland's famous jazz scat, which is really cool. And depending on how hard or light you hit the key, the sound is different. So here's light. Here's a little heavier. And heavier. Pretty cool, love that. So you can play with that all day. So let's get back to the piano here. And that's it for the different instruments. There's like 15 of them. The FP30, which is the model above this one, has like 35 instruments. Well, if you go and use Roland's app, Piano Partner 2, which can run on your Android or your iOS device, it gives you 20 more sounds. So basically, you got what the FP30 has, and you have it on here. So even though it's advertised for 15 sounds, it really is 35, and that's so cool. Right. And I'm not going to go over the metronome here. Everybody knows what a metronome is and how it works and all that, but you can set it, how many beats, and the tempo, and the volume, and so on and so forth. The back panel is really simple, very minimal. So you've got a DC power input, so with your AC power adapter, the other end of that plugs into there. Then you have USB A and B. Now the only thing you're going to be using is B to hook this up to your computer so that you can play virtual instruments, things like piano tech, ivory, Garriton, things like that. Also, you can use that with your DAW, so you can create some other compositions with that. The USB-A it might throw you off because of its presence, but the only thing they're using that for is updates. So if there's an update, you throw that onto a USB thumb drive, you put that in there, and that's how the update is done. Otherwise, it's not really usable. You'll have to go to the FP30 to get a USB-A that's functional, that you can record to. You can't record anything on this, but you can record to the Piano Partner 2 app. Next is 1/8 inch or TRS stereo mini plug, and that is the only output available on this entire board. So you can plug headphones into that, or you can get an adapter cable, which is what I'm using right now. It's going right into my audio interface. My left and my right channels, they're being recorded as I play. And next to that is a 1/4 inch input for a damper pedal. Now it comes with Roland's DP2. It's basically a little plastic switch that you put on the floor and operate with your foot. You can get a better looking one, Roland's DP10, which also does half pedaling. So you do have half pedaling available to you with this, with that option. And as far as the effects go, you've got ambience, and you've got brilliance, and you've got piano string resonance, and you've got piano damper resonance, and you have piano key off resonance. So in this little board, you've got some pretty cool stuff. Let me just go over like how easy it is to make a layer. So while you're holding this, let's say I want piano and a pad. So I'm going to hold down one of the pianos that I want, and then I'm going to hold down the pad. Now, and again, just press piano, and I'm back to my default. All right, and again, getting back to the key action, you know, weighted, graded, hammer action for this type of action at this price point. Unbelievable. So if I needed a controller for something, this would probably be a good choice for that. Now it does have 96 note polyphony, which is not bad for an entry-level piano. You're going to be able to do everything you're going to be able to do, or everything that you want to do. And the piano sound that you've been hearing on here is Roland's supernatural piano sound. And I'm sure you've heard that on other Rolands, and it's going to sound better. Basically, the more expensive you get, it's going to sound better. But this one, again, 96 note polyphony and that kind of stuff. When you go up the line, you get a little more polyphony, and you get the ability to tailor the sound to the way you like it. Even though this has that ability too, you just get more of it. The other nice thing about this size is nice and compact, and the weight, 27.3 pounds, which is 12.2 kilograms. Now, I'm in the United States, so the model I have here has Bluetooth in it. Now, depending on what country you're in, it may not have Bluetooth, so you might want to check with Roland or your Roland dealer to find out if the FP10 in your country has Bluetooth. This one does, and because of that, we're going to get into the Piano Partner 2 app in a moment. We're going to show you some great stuff with that. And as far as the built-in speakers, basically 6 watts on each side, left and right, total of 12 watts. Now they are facing down. So if you're on a table, I'm not sure how that's going to affect it. I mean, you'll still hear it, it is raised. But this is ideal right now, the way I have it. It's all open down here. Now, besides the pedal that it came with in the AC adapter, it also comes with this music holder. Very easy to just put in. Voila, you're done. Now, it has just a little bit of a lip here. I would prefer to have more of a lip, but as it is, it's pretty good the way it is. And one more thing I wanted to mention. The difference between this FP10 and the FP30, which is the next model up. The FP30 is $699 US. The FP10 is $499. So, like I said, it had 20 more sounds to it, but you can get those sounds back with using the Piano Partner 2 app. So that's kind of a no-brainer right there. As for everything else, here's the differences. This I mentioned was 27 pounds, and the FP30 is 31 pounds. So we got a 4-pound difference there. It's got a bigger case on the FP30, and it's got better speakers and amp. And again, I mentioned 15 sounds on this, 35 on the FP30. But the FP30 also has a Bluetooth page turner. So when you're looking at music notation on your iOS or Android device, there's a page turner function over there. And it has the FP30 has a USB Midi recorder. So you can actually record, and you can record it to like your USB thumb drive or whatever. Now, the FP30 also has some optional things that are not available for the FP10, and that would be a triple pedal unit, a matching stand, and it also comes in white. Okay, this one does not. All right, so let's get into the Roland Piano Partner 2 app. All right, so now we've got the Roland Piano Partner 2 app fired up, and this is a Android smartphone. So we're running it on that. It's connected via Bluetooth to this keyboard, and you'll notice on the opening screen you've got 7 choices here, but one of them is blurred out. Or grayed out, and that would be the rhythm section. That is not available on the FP10. So if you go to the FP30, then you would have that, but not on the FP10. But all these other things that you have here. So you have songs, and there's a whole bunch of different songs that you can play. Right now the Polonaise is highlighted, so let's try that. Okay, enough of that. Let's go back to the home screen. And the next one is Digiscore Lite. So here you have a piece, and you can go ahead and play it, but you're looking at the music notation too. And the highlight goes from measure to measure, depending on which one's being played. Okay, so you get the idea there too. So let's go back to the home screen. Rhythm is grayed out. Flashcards are for people that are brand new to this and you're just learning. So go ahead and start. It plays a note and you try to play the same note. So whenever you get a note right, it'll go ahead and give you that did it as kind of a audio reward. Oh, went too far. G. Got that right. Alright, so that's a C, but we're going to play something wrong. So we don't get anywhere that way. Played the right thing, we get back to the right reward. Alright, so let's go back to the home screen. The remote controller is what you're basically going to be using this with. Okay, and before I get to that, the recorder section, that's where actually you can record your stuff on the piano to this app. But once it's recorded, I mean, you can play it back, but you can't really transfer it or anything like that. So let's go over here to the remote controller. This is where you can do all these different things with it. And basically, a lot of the things that you can do on the keyboard, like splits and layers, are easier to do over here. All right, so basically the choices up here. You've got tuning. You don't need to worry about that right now. Okay. Key touch, instead of hitting the function and remembering which key or switch did what, it's easy here. So I've got it set on a super light touch right now, but if I want a super heavy touch, much less effort, and you get a little more volume because it's a super light touch. Master volume, I don't need to explain that. That's self-explanatory, but that's the same as the volume buttons on the unit. And ambiance and brilliance, a little higher ambiance. And brilliance, I kind of like it the way it is right now. And keyboard transpose, basically, I don't need to explain that, but basically, okay, so that's all under settings. And metronome, we go into metronome, and this is where you can set up your metronome, and you can set the beat and the downbeat, the metronome volume, and so on and so forth. I don't really use a metronome, but here's the main one right here, keyboard and tones. So single means you've got the whole keyboard. That is single. And when you go into split mode, now you got something different on the bottom than you do on top. And over here you can set your split point. Right now it's set to F#3. So anything below that and above that is piano. So you get the idea of splits. And again, you can change that split point and you can change the different tones. So right here on the left side of the keyboard, we've got it set to other, and we chose acoustic bass with a cymbal. But we can choose anything else that we really want. Here's an acoustic bass with no cymbal. All right. And if we go to the right part of the split, then we can change the right part. Set for a piano, let's change it to a ragtime piano. So you get an idea of how easy this is to set up. If we go to dual mode, that's basically layers. So you get to choose in the same fashion you did before. Instead of left right, now it's tone 1, tone 2. And you can set the volumes of each part of the layer, as well as the balance, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much this app in a nutshell. There is one more thing. It's called Twin Piano, and that's basically for if you have a teacher and a student. I have 2 equal keyboards here now of 44 notes each, divided over at middle C. So playing here is the same as here. And that is the whole piano partner too. So I hope this has helped you out. Piano Man Chuck, peace out. Thanks for watching.